Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pop-Off. Gene FitzMagic, James Wudi, Caleb Pinkett, Nigel Downer. What's up, fellas?
Yo.
Hey.
What up?
So let's get right into the hat. Is that for last Monday Night Football, the big win on Monday Night Football?
Oh, man, guys, I had so many different hats to choose from today, and like new ones that I haven't worn, that this one still had the price tag on it. So I'm like, I don't even know. I can't even give a shout out to where I bought it. It's one of my faves, though. I think, Caleb, we've already talked about how we're in the same kind of era in terms of like when this script came out. Maybe Wudi and Fitz, maybe you guys remember this. It was a very popular colorway, very popular look.
Mm-hmm.
So
that
yeah,
was the 90s.
Yeah, it's just real clean. Like this one is
Kevin Green days.
You got it, and you got that white NFL patch on the side, which I really love. And because this is a snapback, my friends, look at this. It's me. It's a snapback right here. And then you got the New Era flag, as they usually do, with the 95, with the 5950s and the gray underbill, man. This is one of my favorites. Don't sleep on the snapbacks, people. They're good. They're great hats. Just fitted seems to be the world, but.
I believe in the 90s, there was Starter that used to make those hats because it had the little starter right above the
there you go.
Back. So,
yeah, there you go.
You die over those jackets.
Oh my gosh. I went to the Jets game on Saturday and they've brought those. I mean, those jackets have now come back. Like they've been back for about 2 years. And there's a Jays one there at the store. Yeah, and it is hot, man. I didn't even look at the price because I knew if I went in. Yeah, I knew if I went in, it was over. With the pouch, you got the Jays logo on the center, like in the pouch, like so around your gut, and then you had those 3 stripes on the shoulder right here, like just a little lower. I didn't even bother going in because, like I said, if I went in, I immediately would just grab my size, wouldn't even just grab the size, put it on the counter, and just throw my Visa on the table. That's it. That's what would have happened. So I didn't do it.
Oh, man. Yeah, those bring back some memories, man. They really do.
Yeah.
I got routes for mine in Baltimore.
Damn. What team was it? Oh, the coveted, man. That was it.
Was 93 when they won that title, when they had 3-peated. My mom bought me one in Baltimore. They said, you can leave that with us.
Wow.
And that was that.
Coming out today.
That's where my family is from, Baltimore. So I was out there for the summer visiting my dad, and didn't come back with that jacket. But I'm here, so I guess I made the right decision.
Well, at the end of the day, you won. So
yeah, that's
what it is. Caleb's take it off. Like I hope it doesn't even fit you.
Snatched it like off, like I had to come out of it because they were gonna.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it wasn't like a.
You got to do what you got to do, man. No jacket is worth that. So
like turbo pop locking. Oh no, the little boy in Last Dragon when he was in the rope, he was like, get out. That's what I was doing.
Then just moonwalk your way out of the situation, just like.
Listen, that's what it was.
So where do we want to start today? We want to start with some Monday Night Football.
Wherever, it don't matter.
Sure.
Let's start there. So we've seen the horrific injury. I'm sure we all seen it by now. If you haven't watched the game, I'm sure you caught it somewhere. The horrific injury to Nick Chubb. What is last night's win? Let me put it this way. And Nigel, we'll start with you. Was last night's loss worse for the Browns or win better for the Steelers?
Oh my goodness. You know what, man? I don't know if I'm gonna phrase it respectfully. I don't know if I'm going to phrase the answer or the question like that, only because it just, when you have these players, these elite franchise players go down like that, and then a team wins, and the game would have been changed if they were still in there, it's hard to look at that W and be like, hard earned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is important, obviously, as an organization, as a team within the competition to get that W, especially against the Well, I mean, I can't wait to hear Wudi's take against the Cleveland Browns that now we're not really sure what they are in terms of like what Watson is now, because he hasn't been impressive at all, and neither has the whole team. But I digress. Huge W for us, man. Again, with some asterisks beside it, because that Chubb injury, along with this was week 2. And there are some real all-stars, man, some real MVPs of teams and franchises that have just gone down and bit it so hard. And it's hard to watch the sport with so many injuries happening to so many people, period, whether they're elite or not. So Steelers coming away with that, starting 1-1. That's a good thing, especially within the division, because that AFC North is a hot mess right now. It's a mess. Yes. So coming out 1-1 is good. I feel good. I don't feel great about some of the choices that Matt Canada is making, the offensive coordinator. It seems like we have just so much talent out there. It's just out there. It's not doing anything. It's just out there. So we're really struggling to make with the opportunities we get. And when I say that, I'm talking about Mr. Watt, whose brother, and I want to make sure I get this correct, because if you haven't seen it, JJ Watt tweeted last night, TJ Watt is the best defensive player on the planet. Stop trying to question it. Stop trying to justify anyone else. He is the best, period. That's a nice nod from your brother, who is one of the best defensive players that we've seen in our generation,
Yes.
So, yeah.
What was your take on the game last night, Wudi?
Good win for the Steelers. I'm happy for Nigel. Like I said in the group chat, we are undefeated in prime time. That is a record that certainly will not last, because we just have a lot more games in prime time without a quarterback. But for right now, this podcast is undefeated. And the Browns, as everybody knows, I was, singing their praises to the heavens. Week 1, they lose their best offensive lineman. Jack Conklin goes down for the season.
Yeah.
And, that's a big deal for a team where I felt like, they had one of the best lines in football. They lost their best one. And then that was it. Now we've lost Nick Chubb, who was one of the best running backs in football. And definitely on their team as well. They also lost Greg Newsome, their nickel, who they felt like was one of the best nickels in the league. So the injury bug has definitely hit them pretty hard, pretty quickly in this season. And Deshaun Watson, who is healthy, just has not been able to really do much of anything. He looks slow out there. He doesn't look decisive, and this is with having multiple route runners. I mean, Amari Cooper is one of the best in the game at getting open. You saw him open quite a few times. And he was getting missed. So it's definitely got to be frustrating being Myles Garrett, somebody else who you might be able to say is the best defensive player on the planet. And they hold the Steelers offense to 12 points. 12 points. But 2 defensive touchdowns, puts them in a spot to lose. They lost the game. So I think with both of these teams, we saw elite defensive play and offensive play that left a lot to be desired, like a lot of talent on both offenses that just wasn't hitting. So when you look at it that way, I don't know if either of these teams are too happy with Monday. I mean, of course, the Steelers got the win, so I would imagine they are happier than the Browns. But I don't think either offense could, be chilling today and be like, hey, we're having a good season so far, because they're not.
And, and it's funny you say, not funny, but when you say the whole thing with Deshaun Watson not playing up to par, the 2 constants you knew that the Cleveland had was the defense was playing well, and they had Nick Chubb, and they lost a piece of their defense, and they lost Nick Chubb yesterday. What does that mean for the Browns going forward, Caleb? What can they do to combat this?
Give Deshaun his massages and leave him the hell alone, so he can get out there and do what he does. That brother need his damn medicine. I don't know why everybody acting like it's something different. You know what's going on. He's like, yo, man, I'm sore. You know what I'm saying? My arm is tight. My knees ain't working. That keep going out. But in all seriousness, you know, look, to be honest, not saying they would have won, but that was a pass interference on that 4th down and 10. I don't care what nobody said. Joey Porter Jr. had the receiver grabbed up like this underneath his pads. And then to try to act like he did something on defense. I hate that. Like when players do that, when you know you cheated, you know that was a penalty, right? Because if it was been the other way, he would have been like, oh, he was holding flag. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that. Like, don't try to get credit for cheating. You didn't do that. You cheated that man. You know that was wrong. And the ref was behind him, so maybe he didn't see it, but everybody in the stadium saw it. Like, they got to fix that kind of stuff. When you see it like that, you got to be like, I'm sorry, dude. We got 1st down and 10. Y'all get another play. Because you can't, like not saying they would have won, because Deshaun could have fumbled the ball or threw an interception on the very next play. Who knows? But that was a penalty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like they got really lucky with that. So you know, there's that. Joey Porter Jr. is obviously a very big weak link as a corner, because if you have to do that to stop somebody from getting the 1st down, like blatant, like it wasn't like a little hole, because a corner touch your hip, push you a little bit, pull on a little something, but blatantly, he might as well just gave him a big bear hug. You know what I mean? Like it was insane. So the refs got to get better on that. I think those plays should be reviewable, like a touchdown. Like, hold up. We need to look at this because it's unfair. You're cheating the team, right? That wasn't cool, especially who just lost their best player for their whole season and maybe his career. Because I highly doubt he will be the same after that. It's
going to be tough to be the same after that.
It's the same thing with A-Ron. He's talking about coming back. He can come back. He ain't going to be what he was. Like, no way. That kind of injury. And they're like, well, it's different with a running back and a quarterback. Yes, but no. Did you see how fast Micah Parsons be getting on quarterbacks? Did you see how quick he was? Y'all saw how quick he was on Big Zach? Man, please. That would have been Aaron. You ain't, nah, man. Like, it's difficult. So, again, I think the Browns, they really have to figure out who they are on offense. The defense is going to be what it is. The defense is better than what the offense is. Deshaun is a big issue, but you can't cry about it you can get rid of him, but you still got to pay him $230 million because it's guaranteed. So have at it. So you can't get rid of him. So now they got to figure out what to do. Maybe they need a new offensive coordinator. Maybe they need to bring in Tom Brady. Apparently he's helping Shedeur Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Like he keeps talking about Tom Brady be texting him and all that. So maybe that's what Deshaun needs. I don't know, but they got to do something because the offense is not living up to par with weapons. I'm not an Amari Cooper fan. I've never been, even when he was in the Raiders or Dallas, because I think he's overrated. But I know he's not whack. You know what I mean? And like they got pieces out there. Even the backup running back did good. I mean, he broke for like 60-something yards for a touchdown. You know what I mean? So it's like they just got to figure out who they are on offense. And I think that's what the real issue is. But also, they were probably brokenhearted, man. I'm serious. Like when they saw, and it was the way he got injured. Like everybody, it seemed like the whole sidelines on every side came out and were like in prayer and crying for that dude. That does something to you emotionally. I tell you all the time, people always forget the spiritual and emotional side of sports and what that does. Like, you know what I mean? And I think it has a big thing. And I'll just say this right quick, like with y'all team, with the Jets. The reason why Dallas put up 30 points on that defense is because they knew they had Zach as their quarterback. They were like, we've already been here. Like, you check out.
I'll give them credit on one thing to talk a little bit about that game. It's not like, everyone wants to say the defense got ran over, but the defense was on the field for 45 minutes that day. That's my point. And not only that, it's not like they gave up a ton of touchdowns. They gave up mostly field goals. So that when they bent but didn't break for the most part in that game. So I really don't. I applaud the defense for being able to stick in there and be able to hold Dallas as well as they did for what they were dealt with.
Yeah, I totally get it. But again, my point is, when you get any big emotional letdown, it's hard to perform at that next level, right? Like physically, it's rough. Deaths are a little different. For whatever reason, when people deal with a death, sometimes they can elevate because it's like I'm doing it for that person. Like when Brett Favre's father died, and then he goes and plays the Raiders and throws like
5 touchdowns.
It was insane, right? But that's different versus, oh no, our season. Oh, I just bought a new Lambo. You know what I mean? Like they thought they was gonna do something. So I think a lot of that has something to do with it. But I definitely know it affected the Browns last night for certain.
Definitely. All right, so guys, let's turn our attention to UFC. We had a little UFC action this past weekend, so I'm gonna start with Caleb on that since you're our resident UFC guy. What was your take on the fights this past weekend? We had Grasso versus Shevchenko, battle to a draw. What did you think?
Shevchenko won 4-1. Like it's ridiculous. I can't. And that judge, I think his name was Mike something.
Bell.
Mike Bell should never work again. He should be fired. He gave the 5th round a 10-8 round. No, right? I get the last 90 seconds. Grasso was on top trying to go for a submission. So what about the first 3.5 minutes when Shevchenko was tagging her all over that octagon, right? And the previous 4 rounds where she only lost 1 round, maybe, right? Like, come on, man. That's ridiculous. But here's the thing with Shevchenko. My Uncle Chael always talks about it. I love Chael Sonnen. But he says she's fantastic, but she doesn't understand the fight business. So she doesn't help Dana sell anything. She's never even been in a main event on a pay-per-view, but was champion for so long. That says a lot, right? Because she doesn't understand the business, meaning you have to sell. Dana's like, shoot, that girl, she don't help me. So listen, if something get tight, I'm not telling you what to do, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he would do that, but just that's what it feels like because it's a business outside of just fighting. Fighting is one part and it's important, but how you market and sell yourself is another thing. And she is horrible at that. So I think all of that has something to play in it. But for the record, just for that fight, Shevchenko won that fight. Grasso should not be the champion. It was not a draw. And yeah, it was so bad. Grasso won. Well, they gave her the draw and she thought she won. Yes, but I won. I'm the champion. He was like, no, it's a draw. You didn't win, but she don't care. Right? Because she knows she lost. It's ridiculous. So terrible fight night.
Woody, what's your take on the fight?
That was actually my birthday.
Happy belated.
What a horrible birthday gift.
It was. I was expecting Valentina to win. I had my parents over and they don't watch UFC for nothing. So I was like explaining everything. I was, talking about her entire biography to my parents, being like, oh, don't worry, like she's a champion. And what Caleb said about Valentina and her lack of showmanship, that's actually one of my favorite things about her, because she is so direct to her goal. She is trying to be the best fighter on the planet, the best she can be. My personal GOAT in MMA is GSP, George St. Pierre, and I feel like it's the same thing. He's not one that's out here, the Conor McGregors, or Adesanya, Frosted. He is only out there to be the best GSP he can be and be the absolute best fighter in the world. And that's how Valentina is, elite stand-up, elite on the ground. I was scared after seeing the first one, because the first one I felt like Grasso was like, had her beat. And, Valentina was probably, up on the points a little bit, but it was very close. Like physically, it looked like Grasso was stronger, faster, just more on point. And then, of course, she got that finish when Valentina turned her back. And then this fight, I felt like Valentina stepped it up. Like she was the quicker one. She got caught in the second round. It looked worse live than it did in the replay. Like I thought she was like Rock, but if you look at her eyes, I feel that's the number one thing I look at. If somebody gets Rock, like if they roll back, it's like, oh, they're. But she looked like she was still good. Maybe she was already going back while she got hit, so that's what caused the roll. Yeah, I thought she was fighting a great fight. There was one in the third round where it looked like she was about to end it with the choke, the same way that she was choked out. And then that fifth round, I just don't know how somebody can call that a 10-8. I really
that's
don't.
not.
Because it was for 3.5 minutes. I don't even think Grasso landed a strike.
Right.
Like Valentina was just popping her, doing her thing. Like I love her stance. Like she was one of the best stances in the game, right? Always protecting herself. And then she slipped. It wasn't even a takedown. She literally slipped.
Mm-hmm.
Grasso got on top, and then they're trading blows. Like I would honestly still give that round to Valentina.
Oh yeah, Valentina won that round.
But to say that Grasso won, not only did Grasso win,
but it was
a 10-8.
That's why
it's just unbelievable. Any other outcome, and Valentina would have won the fight fair and square.
Yeah, if it had been 10-9, give it to Grasso. Valentina wins. It doesn't, because that's how dominant she was. And I'll tell you this about the first fight. Grasso, see, what people don't understand, Grasso, they know she's Mexican, but Mexicans train boxing. Her uncle is a boxing trainer. Grasso was whooping Valentina's ass the first fight with boxing from the shoulders because she could go. Valentina came back this fight and was ready for it. She was outboxing her. I was like, yo! She was popping her with that jab, bop, 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 boom, with the two right behind it, hands back up, like she was on it, throwing the kicks to the body. She was trying to set her up for a head kick. That's what she wanted to get, but it didn't go. But it's irrelevant. The point is, though, it's like those things. But again, Valentina was winning that fight. She was completely robbed. You know what I mean? But to your point about GSP, who I love, I just think it was a different time. Once you get bought and you're a $1 billion company, we got to make billions of dollars. Like the money's got to come back in, and you got to have fighters that sell. People want to be sold. It's just as important as what you do in the octagon. You know what I mean? So definitely. That is an Achilles heel to her game. That she should just be a heel, like Uncle Chell say. I believe, like he said, she made the perfect heel promo and doesn't understand. She said, well, they probably gave her the win because it's Mexican Independence Day and she's Mexican. He was like, that's beautiful. That's the heel line. Like, oh my God. And she didn't even reckon, like, that type of stuff. That would have been beautiful. Conor McGregor would have said that. You know what I mean? But did it with the impact to make people go, ah!
No, she was just saying that to be honest. Like, that was just her honest feedback.
Yes, it's honest. But that's what heels do. They say the stuff to get under you, but they do it on purpose. She said it just like being honest. And she missed that opportunity. Because she would have had the trilogy right then and there. Dana would have said, that's the next fight. Now they're like, well, we don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
it's true. I feel like they should. They definitely.
Oh, who else she gonna fight? I'm not talking about Valentina. I'm talking about Grasso. Nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else. If they do a number one contender fight, Valentina is going to knock out whoever that, because that's how far the differences are in the women's division, right? Like you'll have one or two that are great. Everybody else is meh. Right? Like that's what it is. That's what it was for Amanda so long. Amanda Nunes, right? Like she didn't have nobody. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't compete at that level. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's that. Sorry, Nigel, I jumped in on your time.
No, not at all, man. Like you guys are crushing it. Listen, we all know what I'm gonna add to this thing. Not much, but from what I did see, like I did like the lean in of Grasso just being like just going for the whole Mexican thing, the first Mexican woman to win a UFC championship. Like, man, that's beautiful. Like whatever you have, I'm a big national guy. Like that's why I love soccer so much. Like when it comes to the World Cup, that's why I love listen, this brother will even watch hockey when it comes to the Olympics. Like I love the international. The camaraderie and and the journeyman, the countryman, like what comes with that, you know what I mean? And then they go and play in other leagues and they have to play against these other people. but then when it comes to their flag, they're playing as one. So I love that. I mean, but listen, her just flaunting the Mexican thing, I think that's fantastic. But from what I saw too, and I'm not even a UFC guy, so this is my last thing on it. Yeah, it looked like Valentina won. I don't understand.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, what happened? I don't understand how you could mess that up. But I mean, it is what it is. That's why we're doing this, and the refs are doing that.
Because Mexico's bigger than Kazakhstan.
And that too. And that.
Well, to turn our attention back to the NFL, guys, we'll start with Nigel. What is wrong with the LA Chargers?
Woo, dog. I mean, I think you should start with Caleb, but I'll say a little something. I think I don't want to say there's a lot, because it's not like there's a lot. It's just I don't know if it comes down to Staley. It's just from the top down. How are they 0-2? Now they lost their last game, 27-24 to the Titans in overtime. I mean, in week 1, the Chargers, there's 7 lead changes against the Dolphins. 7 lead changes, and Dolphins end up winning. Week 2, which is this past weekend, the Chargers blew a double-digit lead. Something's got to give, I think. People are calling for Staley's head. You know what I mean?
As they should.
Right. So I mean, it's not looking good, man. I don't know. So I don't know if it's the head coaching thing, because this is his 3rd year, I believe, as the coach.
Yep.
I mean, in the game of football, I think 3 to 5 years is probably a good buffer. But after that, something's got to give. You can't have that much talent on the team and lose those ways. 1 in overtime, and then 1 after 7 lead changes, and you can't hold your lead, and then a double-digit lead and you lose. Boy, that's somebody's getting it.
What do you think, Caleb?
2 words: stay Lee.
Wait,
they need to get. He needs to be gone. He's not good, right? And it's funny. I think he was a defensive coordinator beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
His defense was ranked 16 in the NFL, and he gets a head coaching job, right? Then you have what you have. Here's the deal. Nigel's right. 3 to 5 year window as a head coach. The only way you get to 5 is you have to win at least 1 playoff game. He hasn't done that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means he's in the last year. I think if they lose next Sunday, he should be fired. Go find a different head coach. There are plenty of people right now that you could get from another team and bring them in. That would be way better. I'm telling you what they should have did. They should have hired Eric Bieniemy. They brought him in as a head coach because he is the offensive genius with Justin Herbert, who is still my boy. I still love him. I don't care what's going on. I think he's phenomenal. He just doesn't have the right coaching. He's got a fantastic team. They are loaded offensively. Their defense is good. But yet and still they lose to the Titans. Really? We're going to lose to the Titans, right? It's so funny. I hit my boy who plays for the team before the game. I was like, listen, the Titans defense is good, but you guys should overpower them. You guys got it. You know what I mean? And then I see and I didn't even hit him after. I just can't, because it just feels terrible, because they should have won that game. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Dolphins, hey, that was a shootout. I'll give it that. You got Tyreek Hill. Listen, I understand, but still, the Titans that is showing something, and I think it's coaching. So that's all I'll say about that.
Wudi, can they win with Staley?
If you're asking me, no way. I mean, they destroyed my survivor pool, by the way. I was like, oh, the Chargers, the Titans, yeah. They should get this. They should bounce back quickly. Caleb already pretty much said this. I'm gonna take it one step deeper. The offense has scored 60 points in 2 games. They've had 0 turnovers. Okay, that sounds like they should be 2-0. But their defense, when their head coach has worked on that side of the ball since 2009 for 14 years, Brandon Staley, that is supposed to be his specialty, is defense. All right, the offense is already covered because you came to a team that already had one of the brightest young stars at quarterback in the NFL, right? They already had Keenan Allen. They already had Mike Williams. There is nothing you've contributed to that team offensively. Defense is your thing. You got Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James, one of the best secondaries in football, and you cannot get a stop against the Titans?
Yeah.
The Titans?
Yeah, let him cook.
Throwing 3 picks to the Saints like it's nothing. Here, you get a pick. You get a pick. Ryan Tannehill was Oprah week 1, passing off picks to the Saints, and now in week 2, your defense can't do a thing. This Brandon Staley, he needs to go. Brandon Goley, he needs to go somewhere else because LA is not the spot for him.
He should go coach Pop Warner. There's a lot of young kids, 12 years old, that need a good coach.
No, he can't ruin the youth like that. He cannot ruin
Yeah, that's going in reverse. You don't want to start them young, man. No, you don't want to start them out young.
But what they need to do is they just need to switch it in-house. Make Kellen Moore the new head coach. Might as well. He's already there. 60 points in 2 games, 0 turnovers, but you're 0-2? Nah. You got all those beasts, and you forgot to say Asante Samuel Jr., who I love. I think the boy is a beast. He's out there too. And they all. That's because, so they're like, wait a minute, coach, they're in a spread. They're spread 5. He's like, run the bear. The bear? What? There's 5 receivers. Trust me. It's like, you big dummy. You know what I mean? Like, come on, coach. They're running. They're about to hand it off to our boy Derrick Henry. What we running? Quarter. It's like, come on, man. Like, dude is way off. I just think he has to. I think he needs to go. They need to put Kellen Moore in that position and ride with it. You know what I mean? And see what happens. You can't get any worse. You're already 0-2. What you gonna do? You're almost out of the AFC West. You lucky the Raiders are there and Denver is there. That's the only way that you even still. Because if you was in the NFC East, it'd be a tragedy.
Yeah, just start over. That'll be done.
You know, so.
All right, so guys, let's turn our attention to the Jets. Do the Jets need to land another quarterback? Wudi, I'll start with you.
Yes, I said this the minute Rodgers got hurt. I mean, if they want to believe in Zach and, continue to coddle him like they have done incessantly for the last 3 years, they can still do it. But I'm tired of them not even putting someone behind him as a threat. That is so uncommon. It's unbelievable. Like, Trevor Lawrence never had that. Trey Lance came in and, Jimmy G was supposed to be up behind him. He lost the job. Like, it's very, very common. Dare I say it is supposed to happen that you draft a QB high with a competent QB already on the team. Justin Herbert actually lost the job to Tyrod Taylor. He did not play all of the games of his rookie year because he was sitting behind somebody. Patrick Mahomes did not play his entire rookie year. Alex Smith, right? This is what you do. You draft quarterbacks when you already have a competent quarterback there. Trevor Lawrence, Gardner Minshew. Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew. Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz. Oh my God, I can spend the entire rest of the show talking about competent organizations doing this correctly. The Jets, they got Zach Wilson and nobody.
Well, they got Tim Boyle.
Nobody.
They got Tim Boyle.
Oh, thank you.
Tim Boyle. I'd rather have Tim Allen wherever he's at, or Tim Allen behind Wilson on the depth chart. They don't have anybody, and it's always hurt them. Yeah, Mike White came out the blue and had a couple of good games, but they never anticipated Mike White actually being competition for Zach. They never brought in somebody to at least just put his feet to the fire. Like, hey, man, you could lose this, and he lost his job, and he's still not, to me, playing like somebody who is in any danger of losing his job. And why is that? Because he's actually not. He's not. Tim Boyle wasn't even activated last week. Randall Cobb was the backup QB for last week's game against the Dallas Cowboys. Randall Cobb, not Tim Boyle. He was not activated. So that is horrible to me. They should bring in someone. And again, I'm not saying demote Zach, but I'm saying you need to have somebody on this team that can play quarterback, because this team, as it's constructed, is ready to win right now. You have 1, 2, 3 years. After that, this team blows up. You can't repay everybody that you drafted last year. So this is the window. We cannot waste it just coddling Zach's feelings. I've never seen an organization so scared so scared of their QB's feelings. Oh, we don't want to hurt him, so we're going to bring in his private QB coach. Oh, he's been terrible. He's the worst passer in the entire NFL, but we're not going to get rid of him. We're going to bring in his mentor, Aaron Rodgers. Like, all of this, like, no, like, do what San Francisco did. If you suck, you're gone. You're gone. Next man up. But we don't have a next man. We have Randall Cobb. So Jets are slacking.
So Nigel, what do you do if you're the Jets? Do you bring in? Do you trade for a quarterback? Do you bring one in that's on the couch right now?
First of all, you hire Wudi to come in and tell Wilson that he's fired. That's what you do. You have Wudi come in and be like, "Listen, we would love to let you down easy, but we have somebody here who's going to let you know the business and get him gone." Great job, Wudi. Keep cooking today. What you do is, yes, you get another quarterback. I can Google. I Googled, and you know how fast like the turnaround was in terms of like free agents or people you could trade for. There's a lot of people, man. Yeah. There's a lot of people, and I'm not even saying that. For me, the frustration is you don't even need anybody that's that good. I'm not saying you need a quarterback that's like franchise or you need anything, because right now that's not really what you're going to get. But what you are going to get, what we're talking about here, is somebody who's a little bit more established, who's gone through a little bit more of the rigmarole of the NFL. So you're getting somebody who's weathered and tried and true that can get you through this season. Because one of the biggest problem is you came in so hot. The Jets came in so hot this season. Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers, Cook. You got all these players that are coming in thinking like, yo, we got the AFC 1. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen. The fan base is all over it. And then you have one of the worst things that could possibly happen. 4 snaps into the first game of the regular season, you lose that franchise piece. You lose the rock, right? So at this point, you just need somebody to be there who can just help the team maintain, because the team is good. We know the team is good. So you get you guys can roast me for all these players, but listen, you get a Joe Flacco, or you call him Matt Ryan or a Carson Wentz. We already know Tom Brady's out of the mix, and that's fine. That was never going to happen anyway. But what about even getting somebody like a Jameis Winston or Kirk Cousins or like Mitch Trubisky from the Steelers? There's guys out there that you could talk with and figure out.
Trying to take out the trash on y'all.
I know.
or Mitch Trubisky.
I'm sorry. No, Caleb, I thought we were in this together, bro. Why are you trying? He called me out. I said his name the fastest. That's the last as quick as I could.
He threw it underneath there.
Yeah, take him. Or I don't know. Mitch Trubisky. Anyway, you know what I mean? But there are other quarterbacks out there, veterans out there that play the game that will help. Just help. You need to stick a Band-Aid on this, because right now, Wilson just being your number one, that's it. And right now, Salah was asked, "Hey man, do you guys think you're going to get a quarterback?" This was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Hey, do you think you guys are going to get another quarterback? You know what his answer was? His response was, "That's probably more of a question for Joe Douglas, who's the current general manager of the Jets, but I don't think so." What are you doing, guy? Like, you don't even know yourself now.
That's called a punt.
Right? Yeah. Right. And that's like we got to go to a higher up person that somebody that's not even in front of the cameras or the mic like ever, and that's who you're passing it off to, buying yourself some more time. It just feels like right now it's not a great place to play football in, and they need something. I mean, Wilson's 12 for 27 passes, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions on Sunday versus the Cowboys. It's gonna be a long season for y'all, man. Season.
Oh yeah.
Where's Kaepernick? Give him a shout.
Hey, listen. It can't be no worse. I tell you that.
Kaepernick cannot be worse. I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree.
No, hey, I know a Super Bowl champion who's now a Hall of Famer who was working at Safeway. Yeah. Okay, and Peyton jumped on an NFL team and took him to the chip. So I'm not. Hey, who knows what Colin can do? You know what I'm saying? They was like, "Yo, you see the way this dude throws them egg whites over the shelf?"
Yo, this brother be slinging them egg whites, son.
Them egg whites, man. 40 yards through the store.
Yeah. Go on and run down all 3 and watch him sling that egg white right to your chest. Get out of here, Tommy.
You don't know. But But yeah, it's bad. I agree with Wudi though. Like you in the NFL, it's a win now league. Win now. You can't be like, oh, for the future, right? Like when you do that, because injuries are so prevalent, your future could be over like that. The Jets found out.
We've seen
the Browns found out.
We've seen
the
it.
Ravens found out.
Yep.
Like it that quick. Hey, the Bengals are finding out. Oh, he's aggravating his calf again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, like that, everything changes. So you have to win now. So they need to do something because Woody's right. You're not gonna be able to keep that team together. So, you gotta make some moves. And I know Saleh doesn't want to offend Zach's mama because he's, I know he's trying, he's like, hey, you know me, I wouldn't even trip, baby girl. But he's saying I gotta get a new quarterback.
Speaking of the Bengals, are they in trouble? Are they gonna make the playoffs, Caleb?
Right now it's looking like a big no, especially if Burrow doesn't play next week because he re-aggravated his calf. If they go 0-3 in that division, because the extra spots in the AFC are going to be taken up. Those teams are great on the AFC got a lot of people coming, and if they go 0-3, I think their season is done. I really do.
Do you still think there's an issue with Burrow, or do we need to be worried about Burrow?
They just said it. They said he re-aggravated his calf injury, right? So,
but I'm saying, do you think it's worse than the calf still?
Oh, I think it's something else. Of course, I do. Like Ryan Clark. It's so funny. He was on First Take the other day, and he was there, and he wrote something on a piece of paper and slid it, and they were like, he says, "Oh, you put Kevin Durant." What happened with Kevin Durant? The calf that was really an Achilles. Like that, everybody know. Ain't nobody saying because nobody wants to put that on Burrow because that's a terrible thing. But it's obvious. We know what it is.
Rodgers just literally had the same thing. He missed time in training camp for a calf.
Yeah, he did.
And then tore his Achilles.
Yeah. Because it's not your calf. You know what I'm saying? Like we all know, and that's what it is, and they're nursing it because they don't want it to pop because they know if it does, then they lose them for 18 months because he's not gonna try to rush back for the playoffs, and I'm like, shut up, Aaron. I love you, but
he's got more time. That's why.
Yeah.
So and
they got too much money, so they got to make sure. So, but again, 0-3, season done, no playoffs.
Nigel, what do you think?
Yeah, I already prefaced this whole thing by saying the AFC North is just a mess. Like it's a hot mess, man. So will they make the playoffs? I don't know. This is tough for me. I don't think they will. I think they really need to address this Burrow injury. They really need to, not only as an athlete, but like Caleb was saying before, as it's just a human being, just looking out for this human being, not only as I meant like a franchise touch point, not only the flag of the franchise, the face of the franchise. You need to look after this guy, period. Because this is not one of those things where I feel like because of their run in the last couple of years, they've really tried to they're really trying to push him. They're really trying to push this team. And I think at this point, they're really trying to keep that momentum going when I don't think they should. I think they should actually take their foot off the gas for a second and just let whatever this thing is, calf to Achilles or whatever the thing, like they need to just chill out. Everybody just needs to chill out. And I think it's like, take him off. This pains me to say because I feel like I'm giving a good reco, and I have him as he is one of my keepers in one of my fantasy leagues. So if I don't, this is gonna screw me. but I mean, this is bigger than me. Obviously, it's bigger than my little fantasy league. So Cincinnati needs to just chill out. And he got paid. All these things were in alignment, and it sucks because it's like he got the biggest bag, with one of the teams that has one of the biggest hurdles to overcome, which is not only the AFC North, but like the idea that they're bringing this franchise back and he's a leader and people know how dangerous he is. They've got some more pieces, but it's like, oh, man, the universe is saying, hey, you cats need to chill out and get this guy healed and then come back with a vengeance. Mid-season, fine, whatever it is. Maybe you miss the playoffs. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Listen, I think it's really interesting that a lot of the guys that got the bag are getting injured.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's interesting, or not playing up to par. You know what I mean? But it's the franchises. They gave so much money to these guys. They're like, no, what do you no, we gotta play. We gotta play, right? Like that's what that is. They just reconstructed Patrick Mahomes' deal. So now he's the highest paid quarterback because his agent sat back because Patrick was like, I am not going out for week 3 unless they fix this. All these jokers ain't finna be making no more money than me.
Oh my God.
Right? No, they did though. And they were like, yes, sir. Immediately. Wow. Yes, sir, Mr. Mahomes. You know, and they fixed it. But he deserves it. So it's no knock there. But again, they're getting these colossal contracts. So the teams are like, yo, man, you gotta play. So that's what this is coming down to.
Wudi, what's your take? If Burrow can come back healthy, can they still make the playoffs?
They definitely still can. I mean, I think last season was the only season where they started, and I think they actually still started 0-2. You know, they're just a slow starting team. The thing about this team is that when they catch fire, look out. Like, you know, they set the league ablaze. Even that Super Bowl run that they had, they were 6-6, 12 weeks into it. No one was talking about them, but then they just caught fire, and it would just, you know, win after win after win. So that's the thing about this team. I've never thought that their roster was, you know, amazing. You know, like on paper, you know, obviously they got the receivers. That trio is great. You know, Burrow is great. Gene hates Joe Mixon, but he's pretty good. You know, but you know, the defense wasn't great. You know, Jesse Bates was their best player. He's now in Atlanta making plays. You know, they just didn't have, like, in order for them to succeed, they need that offense to be setting defenses on fire, like we've already seen them do. But if Burrow is going to nurse this calf injury, you know, hot potato, you know, the whole season, I had them missing the playoffs. When we did our you know, projections for the season, I had the Ravens number 1 and the Browns making it into the wild card at number 2. With all the injuries they've suffered, maybe the Steelers overtake them and, you know, get that number 2. But I still, with what I'm seeing with Joe Burrow's health and the fact that their roster really isn't as good as, you know, we assume it is just because of their long-term success in the playoffs. I don't think they will make the playoffs, but it's definitely still possible if Burrow gets his calf/Achilles right.
Yep. All right. Now let's turn attention to another star quarterback, Josh Allen. We saw him play pretty much the two opposite sides of the spectrum on week 1 to week 2. Nigel, who is the real Josh Allen?
Would the real Josh Allen please stand up? Please stand up. We don't know. But I think that, you know, it's only a matter of time till he gets back to the Josh Allen that we all fear coming out of the East. I mean, he was night and day from week 1 to week 2. Week 2, he completed 84% of his passes, 274 yards, 3 TDs, no turnovers. That's a Josh Allen that we just expect to show up. Yeah. We also got to remember, man, a lot of these QBs and a lot of these like key pieces to offenses, even some defenses, but offenses, none of these cats are playing in the preseason. So it's like this is all kind of warm up. You know what I mean? So the first week is just everybody's just kind of getting their footing and figuring it all out. I mean, they single-handedly they destroyed, which everybody should be destroying the Raiders 38-10. Like that's a good little whooping right there. The Raiders were lucky that they got 10 on the board. You know, when he said, and I quote, "Thing is with this game, man, it gives you the lowest lows and it gives you the highest highs. 100% it does, and it can do that in an instant." So I think right now the real Josh Allen is yet to show up, but he's gonna get there. And when he gets there, the Bills will be a force to be reckoned with as they were in seasons past. I don't think it's a long-term thing, though. I'm just gonna tag this on the end. I think they got another couple seasons, and then that whole thing is probably just gonna get washed out because there's the money, the players. It's just not gonna work out in the long run. But for right now, he'll be back in a second. He'll be back.
Wudi, is he closer to week 1 or week 2? What is he?
Well, I feel like this is such a Jets fan question. He is clearly clearly closer to week 2. Josh Allen is as elite as they come. There's nothing he cannot do. And he's another one where we overrate the Bills' offense because Josh Allen is so good, right? You know how I just said
is the offense.
Overrate the Bengals team because their offense is so good. The Bills literally have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Nobody else matters. Don't talk to me about Gabe Davis. They're running backs. They've had 7 during the Josh Allen era. They all mean nothing. It's literally just those 2 players, and somehow, some way, they keep winning the AFC East and making splash after splash in the postseason. They haven't gotten far enough because it's just them 2. So Josh Allen, you want to talk about week 1 versus week 2? This happens. You know, the Browns have Burrow's number. Salah's defense has Allen's number. You know, it was the only time after the Jets bye that they were able to force multiple turnovers was against the Bills. And then they couldn't do it against anybody. Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, nobody. They didn't do it in week 2 against Dak Prescott. That's me almost being proven right that I think the Jets defense is a little bit overrated. But the Bills and Josh Allen, yes, he has turnovers, but against the Jets, you know, that is exacerbated because they have his number. They know where he's looking. They've studied the film. They've studied the tape. The Raiders, they just got obliterated because now he's hungry. I'm telling you right now, the rest of the season, yes, he'll probably struggle against the Jets again. He'll probably struggle against the Pats because, you know, Belichick loves all that chess, right? But other than that, expect what we just saw this past Sunday. Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. And I think we're going to see that for the years to come.
Caleb?
I agree with you both, but I'll just say this. Josh Allen is both. He's the quarterback from week 1 and the quarterback from week 2. You just don't know which one you're going to get until you're in the game.
Josh Allen is Two-Face.
It's human nature. It's natural. Like, of course, Brett Favre was too. You just didn't know, is he going to throw for 6 touchdowns or 6 picks? But it's going to be one of them because he's not going to not play the game. That's who Josh Allen is. He's going to play the game. If he sees an opening, he's going to trust his arm and he's going to gun it in there. You just might be fast enough to be there. The receiver might have slipped. Anything. He might not have got it accurate on that one. But that's what he's going to do. That is who he is. That's why he's called a gunslinger. That's what that means. That means bang, bang. Bang, bang. Doesn't mean they always hit everything they shoot at. You just know they're shooting. That's what you do know.
Can we isolate that soundbite and throw that onto Josh Allen, like throwing the ball?
But it's true. That's what a gunslinger means.
True.
He's gonna shoot no matter what. You know what I mean? So that's what defenses have to plan against. You know he's gonna shoot. Are you just gonna be in there to get it to pick him off or whatever? But he's gonna throw that 60-yard pass off his back leg while he's running to his left across his body. Damn right he is. That's how he plays the game. He can't play it any different. It's who he is. So to me, he's both. It's just this week he hit. Like,
there you go.
Like what do you know what I mean? It's like shoot or shoot, like they say in basketball. Shoot or shoot. You know, Steph's gonna go 8 for 10 or 2 for 16. I've seen him do both. You know what I mean? So it's like, and he's still the greatest shooter as Stephen A. says, that God ever created, right? It doesn't matter because that's what he's going to do. Josh Allen is the same way. So I think he's both quarterbacks. It just depends on what happens that week. You know what I mean? But I agree. He is top 3. I think he is elite. I use his team every day in Madden. My boy. I be out, and listen. I had a crazy game last night. I had one of the greatest Madden games of all time. Oh my God, I had to call my nephews about this. We was down 21-0 in the first quarter. We won 32-30. Let me tell you something, boy. That's Josh Allen coming through. He threw 3 picks. I was like, Josh. He said, don't worry, coach. I got it. Just keep it the same. Next thing I know. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So listen, that's just who he is. I'm a huge fan of Josh Allen. I fear I mean, I feel bad for any team he goes against because you have to deal with the uncertainty. All you know is that he's shooting. You just hope you don't get hit. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. Let me tell you, I bet you what. I bet you Salah wishes he had a Josh Allen back there.
For sure.
I know he wishes that Zach had that kind of gunslinger mentality and heart where he gonna go out there and use his talent and take what comes. Zach was scared as I don't know what out there with Dallas. He had that one pass. It was beautiful though, right there. You know what I'm saying? And Wilson took it to the house. That showed me I was like, Dallas ain't as good as everybody thinks. They just playing against whack quarterbacks. You know what I mean? And we're gonna see. And they got one too. That Joker, look, they talking all this stuff about that. Dak got 2 touchdown passes in 2 games. 0 interceptions, but 2 touchdowns. So that's Brad Johnson. Get out of here. Yeah. Not impressed.
Brad Johnson.
Not impressed. But anyway.
All right. Well, what about the Commanders and Bucs? Are they for real, Caleb?
You know the Bucs are for real. They got Baker. I bet y'all wish you had Baker in New York
let him cook. Let him cook. Go on, let him cook. Let him cook.
I'd take Baker right about now.
I would not.
Yeah.
You're damn right.
Actually, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you would. Wudi, stop, bro. Stop.
Take Baker over.
As truthful as your T-shirt is, that Mario Kart 1992, as high as that game is, you would for sure take Baker Mayfield right now. For sure, you would.
Definitely.
But first of all, the Bucs beat up against 2 of the worst defenses in football right now. But the Bucs are supposed to
be one of the worst teams in the NFL, so it's different when it's them. It's like the Wildcats. Remember that movie, The Wildcats? For the Kings, better than diamond rings, football. That one. That's who they are.
The Goldie Hawn vehicle?
Yes, the Goldie Hawn. Wesley Snipes was up in that joint. Y'all man, listen, I'm an 80s kid.
I think Woody Harrelson was in that too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
yes. Right. So again, they're the Wildcats. They're playing with house money. So Baker looks fantastic right now. If they lose, they could lose the rest of the season. Don't matter. Nobody expected anything out of them. So all they can do is look good. You know what I mean? Hopefully, he's probably going to show up and be the Baker that everybody has seen when he plays against Philly next week. But you never know. Man, my boys look trashy on defense right now. Like Swiss cheese defense. Like holes everywhere. Everybody throwing up 30 points on us. Like nothing. You know what I mean? So we got a jail. So ain't no telling. But I'm gonna just say this. I'm happy for Baker because he gets cracked on. Like it's like you would think he shouldn't even be in the league the way people talk about him. So I'm just glad to see that they're doing okay. Are they for real? Yeah, for the NFC South for real. As real as that can be. But not if you talk about NFL, like, oh, they're gonna do something. No. But I'm happy to see Baker doing well, and there's that. Now the Commanders. Sam Howell, okay, but that come from behind victory that they did in Denver because Russ thought he was cooking right up until they found out that the food was spoiled. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting. I just think the Commanders have such a harder task to do because Dallas is so good this season. Eagles are good this season. And the Giants just came back from a 21-point. Like those are the emotional things that make a team believe. And that changes everything. You know what I mean? So I think for the Commanders, it will be less real, even though I think they are absolutely better than what they used to be. I think Eric Bieniemy has helped that offense tremendously. But, they're for real as real could be being in the NFC East when you are absolutely not one of the top 2 teams.
Who do you think's more for real, Nigel, out of the 2 of them?
Definitely the Bucs. I love what
really?
I love what Caleb said about the Commanders. I love that notion. They're as good as they can be in their division. Yeah, 100%. Because I think in any other division they need to get mopped up. But I do think that the Bucs. What I like about the Bucs is it kind of reminds me of. I'm going to say this, but I know that we're all going to think Tom Brady. But like when Belichick was taking the Patriots in the first couple seasons with Brady, and then we started to see something really special when we didn't even know who more than half the team was, like offensively. We had no idea who these receivers were, and he kept bringing in these cats that ended up being like Wes Welker and like and who else? Well, mostly all white dudes, but like all these receivers, though. But my point is like Belichick really made a squad out of talent, period. Whoever the best people were that could get the job done. I don't care what your name is. This is what you're going to do. You're going to be part of the machine. And that's what we're getting. It feels like we're getting a little glimpse of that with Tampa Bay now it's the post Brady era, which is only 2 seasons, but we're seeing again a team that we had just said it, they're not expected to do anything. But let's kind of be real though. Like, I mean, Baker Mayfield's now thrown 500 yards in total in 2 games and like maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. I don't know what the stats are specifically, but in that world, they did 317 this week in week 2. Like, nobody expected that. Nobody expected that. I don't know if it's going to be trending, but all I'm saying is that I like the way that they're playing. They're playing fast, they're playing loose, and they're playing like they don't have a care in the world. They have nothing to lose, so it doesn't matter. But the Commanders, on the other hand, I feel like they have more to lose because of what is happening with the reputation of the franchise. The rebrand didn't work. All the quarterbacks that they've had recently haven't worked. Like, nothing has really worked for that squad, and they're really trying to figure out what they are. People don't even want to say their name. They're just like Washington Football Club because the Commanders suck. The name previous to that was like, I mean, more so now was like, oof, that's tough to say. So there's just a lot of things that I feel like that they're trying to overcome. And they're doing their best on the field. I think all of us here were in cahoots saying that we liked the Commanders. We liked what we saw in preseason and what they have on paper. I don't know. Are they going to do anything? Their division's tough. Caleb said, man, their division, that's a tough division to be in. But they are 2-0. So.
Yeah. So are the Bucs. So is Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, we called Atlanta. You called Atlanta mostly, but yeah.
I thought Atlanta
Gene, Gene was out here. I think he got an Atlanta tattoo or something.
I like Atlanta in that South. Listen, I don't expect them to do much outside of the South, but in the South, I like them coming out of the South. Yeah. That's my division winner.
Mm-hmm.
So I give some love to the Commanders. I feel like
Wudi, you look like you had a face when he said the Bucs.
Yeah, he sure did.
Crazy because I think the Commanders are a better team. If they were in the NFC South, they would win the division. But they're
without question, that I believe.
Yeah, like
they would beat the Saints.
I won't fight you on that.
I think they have proven to be for real. I think Sam Howell, as anybody would in their first season as a starter, he's like Kenny Pickett right now. They're pretty much in the same boat. But Howell only started 1 game last season, and Pickett, I think, started a handful, like 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. But they're in the same boat, right? This is their first year being trusted as the guy. And, Howell's, his first game was not great, but he was able to will them. He himself had a rushing TD to get that winning touchdown in week 1. And now this time, Russ was cooking. He was definitely, the hibachi was, the flame, everything. But then Sam Howell came.
Everybody got sick. They were like,
Marvin,
what's going on?
But and it's up to Howell to make those plays, like that beautiful 60-yard strike to Terry McLaurin for a touchdown. I think Sam Howell is earning my respect. Dare I say, and I know he's gone against 2 completely different defenses, but stat to stat line, he has played better than Pickett.
The Broncos defense is supposed to be real.
Well, that's true. That's true. The Cardinals not so much, and Pickett has gone against the Niners and the Browns, so I would definitely put that in a different category.
Cardinals are putting up a fight, though. You guys, damn, them and the Rams. I'm so surprised. I couldn't believe it.
The Rams, I mean, Puka Nacua, I don't even know what to say.
Listen, do you know how fast that guy was snatched up in fantasy leagues around the world? As soon as he just flew. In the first week, literally, it was okay, there were smatterings. People picked him up early, late rounds, or okay, cool, because you need to pick up some subs, right, for your receiving core. And then after week 1, this kid lit fire, and then all of a sudden, he was still available around. But after this week, I tried and checked again. My guy was snatched up. He's almost 100% rostered. It's crazy. But that's what happens, man. Good for him. Good for that young man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know. I think the Commanders are for real. The Bucs, Brian Flores has not done with that defense what I thought he would do. So the Vikings defense is still not looking great. And then the Bears are literally the worst team in football. Justin Fields, that might be the biggest disappointment. We thought they'd be competitive in that division.
That's what you need to trade for.
There's
Justin Fields.
Listen. No, wait, hold on.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's been a bigger disappointment with the Chicago Bears, and that's their orange helmets. Okay, the orange helmet. Though I thought it'd be a hot look, it wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look for them. The orange helmet's blue sea, not a good look for them. It's cool on a hat, not on a helmet.
But I'm telling you, like Fields with the Jets would be, because now teams got to play in because of the run. And all he has to do is just get it to Wilson, get it to, like, I'm telling you, and man, that changes everything. You know what a running quarterback.
That's what he should be doing with DJ Moore. Like DJ Moore's
right. And to be honest, Zach Wilson, my problem with the Jets too with their offense is I don't think they let Zach Wilson run enough. He can run a little. He can move.
Yeah, he can.
He's mobile.
He can.
But they never let him run. Like when they actually let him run.
That's because they don't want no mistakes.
I feel like he's just scared.
There's too much going on.
Yeah, I think Wudi said
run a little bit at the end of the first half this past game, and I'm thinking that's what he can run. He was a running quarterback in college. Why don't they let him run?
But I think Wudi was onto something, Gene. To that point, I think Wudi, if I caught it, is like he's scared. You're saying that Wilson is scared, right? That's what I think too. I think that he's now intimidated by not only the whole situation, but just like what the media feels about him, how fans feel about him. That he's afraid to jump into that Josh Allen role in terms of just being a gunslinger. Just like, look, I got nothing to lose here, because he really doesn't, other than his job. I get it, but like, just go for it, young man. Like now you're in this position, like just do it. Like it's not. I feel like he's just. Just being in the role where he's just like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Like, listen, do something, man. Do something fun. Have a good time while you have the time.
Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree. I think he does get scared. And I feel like there are so many examples in his head that he can replay of times where he was like, you know what? I am going to play loose and ended in a pick or a fumble or something super embarrassing that gets replayed on social media over and over. So I don't think he has the quickness to do like a QB draw, right? Like they do with like Hurts and Allen and Fields. Like Jackson, I don't think he has that type of quickness. But he's like Daniel Jones. He has a deceptive, like, great coverage down the field. All right, let me, blurt for, 8 yards, 14 yards. Daniel Jones is one of
exactly.
I mean, if I can give them their flowers, he's like one of the best in the league at getting those random first downs. It's so annoying. I think Zach could be one of those, but he doesn't have, I think him and Justin Fields probably process the field in the same rate, which is absolute worst in the league. They are just so slow processing what's happening that by the time Zach decides, I'm going to run, it's almost always too late. Or like, that person's open. It's almost always too late. His timing is off. And I think that is something that Aaron was working with him on. It looks like it has improved, but it's still not good enough. He's still in the bottom of the league with Justin Fields, who is like literally missing open receivers, not even seeing them and just running for no reason.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so last segment of the day, Rookie of the Week. Who's your Rookie of the Week, Wudi?
Oh my gosh. I know he got a concussion, but I'll go with Anthony Richardson. He had 2 touchdowns. He was spanking the Texans, who also had a rookie QB. I said last week he looked the best in week 1. Well, I'm going to double down in week 2. He literally it is night and day looking at him between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I think that, unfortunately he got the concussion. That's also what I said, right? I said he got to protect himself because he got hurt in week 1. Now he's hurt in week 2. So he's really got to, start playing the long game here. I know, win now and all that, but, he's literally a rookie. He's 2 games, 2 injuries. So you really got to start playing the long game a little bit. But from what I saw with him, I mean, look out if he can, get all those nuances down.
What about you, Caleb? Who's your Rookie of the Week?
Of the week? Oh, God. It's interesting. So who I love, and I feel bad for him. So he's not performing well. but I'm rooting for CJ Stroud. But they're just, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's almost as if college is such a different game from the NFL. Like, where you could ball out in college and then come to the NFL and you're like a deer in headlights. Like, is it really that much faster? Is it really that much? I mean, I guess it's obvious, but it's like, but why should it be? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand the process. There it is. Like, how is it that you can't process it? You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. But so he's not impressive, but I'm rooting for him. Same thing with Bryce Young. It's like, come on, you guys. Now, I don't like the stash. I think Bryce needs to cut the stash. I think that's what's holding him back.
That's the problem, I think.
Listen, it's the stash. It's why Dwayne Wade was such a baller at the time, because he was always edged up line, waves popping. KD looked like a bunch of spiders on his head. He breaking, tearing his Achilles. He can't win in the damn with Harden and all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain thing. There's a certain aesthetic. You got to keep yourself right. So I think he needs to get rid of the stash or grow it into a goatee or do the beard and line it up. He got to do something. The stash ain't working. And I think that's what's holding him back. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I digress with all that. I'm teasing, but for real, I want to see these guys do well. Like, and in the rookies, Richardson is doing better than them. And luckily he's injured, but he is actually doing better than them. You know what I mean?
Luckily he's injured.
I mean, he's injured. It sucks, but you know what I mean? It's like still he was doing better than them. And I don't know. So yeah, those are my guys that I'm rooting for. So I'm keeping it there. Those are my dudes.
Nigel, who's your rookie of the week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Richardson as well. And I think I'm also gonna go with I think Robinson. I do like Jamar Gibbs.
Bijan is insane.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I'm calling those guys out, which obviously seems like the obvious, but also just look at the franchises that they're playing for right now. Like, these franchises, it's not like they've gone from great college schools to like great franchises. Obviously, that's not the way the draft works, so they try not to make it work like that. But like, Richardson was going into one of the worst situations that you could probably go into in terms of, like, a franchise in turmoil. They have an amazing running back that's sitting out and is like, he's created kind of a cancerous, atmosphere and standing out. And then he just comes in there just like a breath of fresh air, man. Just boom, and does the thing. And you're right. Shout out to Wudi right now. If we were in the same room, this is where I would give you a dap or a high five or something, because you did call. I called excitedly to make sure Richardson started. I was like, yeah, man, Richardson should start. I called it, and then Wudu's like, but I'm worried about the young man's health. I'm worried if he's get injured because this is a different game. You're right. You called it, Wudi. You're right. So it's like, it's right. We don't know how long he'll be out for because it's a concussion or it's suspected concussion. I don't know if it's official yet, but that sucks because even if it's a concussion, now you're looking at future stuff. Right, you're looking at, okay, cool. So that's one. So now what? You know what I mean? But shout out to Richardson, man, because I feel like he's playing, like, he's having fun and he's playing, and you can see the energy in the team. You can see it. It's fantastic.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's show. Let's go through our last words of the day. Wudi, what's your last words of the day?
That was my first time being unprepared in a little bit.
Nobody knew it.
Yeah, but yeah, I got the sun shining behind me. Probably gonna, play outside with my little toddler. So, just taking the rays and enjoy your day.
Nigel, last words of the day.
Listen, I guess we're getting the same kind of sun here because it is fantastic out here in Toronto. I've got this south-facing window, massive window. So I want to give a shout out to my plants. My plants have been thriving, and I'm so stoked when they're stoked. I figured out a little life hack, and what that life hack is, if you have any plants at home, I saw this on IG. It's like if you take banana peels, take a whole bunch of them, cut them up. They don't have to be fine, but just like chunks. throw them in some water, maybe leave it for a day, so it can be a work day or it can be overnight. I chose to do overnight. Shake that little, shake that water up, because that potassium from those peels is great for the plants. I gave my plants that stuff last week. I don't know if it's made a difference or not, but so far they've all been like, yeah, let's get after it. So all of them thriving, no leaves anywhere. So that's all I have to say. There's a very good chance I might buy a hat today.
There it is. Yes, sir.
Caleb, last words.
It's a beautiful sunny day in LA. I got some creative work I got to get into and do that. And then I'm gonna go watch a movie, because I'm always working and I gotta know what's out, what's great, who's good, who's not, all of that. So that's what I'll be doing. But yeah, and just enjoying this thing we call life. You know what I mean? Spread love the Brooklyn way, y'all.
Yes. Waiting for it.
Guys, have a great today. A better tomorrow. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace, y'all.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.